Welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship. We have been joined by none other than Mithy. Thank you so much for joining us to share some analysis and talk about the upcoming game. It will be SKT on the blue side taking on the Xiaogu Reapers on the red side. Before we get to pick some bans and talk about how that's going to impact, let's talk about these teams and how Xiaogu actually just beat Fnatic and played quite strong. They had good team fights, something that we're used to seeing. Mithy, what was your take on the game? Because we heard Deficio talk for like 45 minutes about it.
Almost fell asleep doing it.
Yeah, the game was quite boring, actually. I found it slow. I mean, we play slow too, right? So there's, I mean, it's hard for me to complain about it, but yeah, I felt the game was too slow-paced for my taste.
What did you think of QG and how they handled that mid-game? The fact that Fnatic were given 20 minutes to find item spikes. Was that good by Fnatic or was that bad by QG? What's your opinion?
I'm not sure. I mean, I'm guessing they knew what they were doing, and if they wanted to force, they would have forced like they did at the last fight. So I think they just had a plan, or I hope they had a plan. And it was just strange for me to see how they didn't really force their advantage with Zed, because I feel like, or I've always had this impression that Zed really falls off later into the game.
All right, so I want to ask your opinion now on some of the players we're about to see go head-to-head. Let's actually start with the AD carries. It is Bang going up against Uzi, I believe, is the starting ADC for today now.
He's
so
in the game.
What's your take on this Bang-Uzi matchup? And there's quite a lot of history and rivalry between SKT and Uzi as well.
I think that's probably the Reddit matchup of the day.
The hype matchup. I mean, yeah. Bang has become the big carry for SKT when they get Lulu, which they've done in like so many games now, so ban that away, please. Uzi, though, laning-wise, I mean, if you just look at Uzi as an AD carry, he's known to be one of the best laners in the world. Have you ever actually played against Uzi in lane?
I played scrims against him season 3, so that's a long time
Season 3, all right, long time ago.
But it was tough.
It was tough.
Yeah.
It was tough. Basically, he got destroyed, is what Mithy is trying to say.
Is that the pro translation, Deficio?
Yes, he got absolutely stumped. I could say it a lot worse, but I'm just going to say he got destroyed.
Other words, but
yeah, the pros use different words, but not for broadcast.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely not for broadcast. What about the big stars here, the mid lane? Faker, he got Lulu in first game of the day, no real surprise. Went for that Death Cap Lichbane build. Going up against Doing B, and I know you guys were just talking about the ranking of some of those Chinese mid laners and the opinions of some of the EU players. What's your take on this matchup and who's going to have maybe the edge, Mithy? What do you think?
I think both players have really wide champion pools, but I would be surprised if Faker gets Lulu again. I think it's his most played champion LCK. I'm talking without stats.
You're 100% right.
You're 100% right.
But yeah, so I just don't understand why they would give SKT their comfort picks in a best of one.
Big mistake CLG obviously made in their game, giving the Lulu Ezreal over, something they've used time and time again. Doing B is he's a bit of a strange player to me, because like, also from talking to some of the EU mid laners who now played against him, he's super aggressive in the way he's playing. Like randomly, he will just like jump forward level 2, level 3 and try and trade with you, pop Ignite and try and force you out of lane. If you're not ready for it, it might surprise you, because also Swift likes to sit around mid lane and gank for him, or just at least apply pressure. Faker though, I mean, SKT said they prepared a lot for this event. They must have watched a lot of the VODs and noticed, you know, okay, this guy can be aggressive. And I'm sure Faker has tried a lot of different players, and he's obviously been used to different playstyles. So I don't think he's going to be in any trouble.
Yeah, not going to be a big surprise. What did you think of Blank? First game of the day, shows up on the stage. I think he looked pretty good. Faker in his post-game interview even said, look, I was a bit nervous for the kid, but he played well. What was your take, Deficio?
Yeah, it's a solid game, honestly. Obviously, he didn't have to do a whole lot on his own. A lot of it came from that TP play in mid lane. SKT made that got them 2 kills. Used that to snowball. He was just a part of the comp. He wasn't the comp in any way.
But that's lane swap, right? Like
it is, yeah.
Lane swap, you can't really do much as a jungler alone unless you just do some really weird gank play, because their support and their jungler are always supposed to work together. So if you don't work together with your support and create team like not really team fights, but team skirmishes, you're not really playing properly. So that's why everything was like more of a team game in a lane swap scenario. Maybe if they go 2v2 this game, it's gonna be, he can actually show up.
All right, so it'll be interesting to see if lane swap or head-to-head lanes is what's going to be happening. Reminder again, it is 6.3. We're getting closer to pick some bans. We saw some shots there of QG with some technical staff on stage just a minute or two ago.
I have a question for Mithy, actually. Sorry to interrupt.
You do your thing.
With the pick and ban phase coming up, with QG, we always talk about Alistar and Braum being the 2 picks to go for. Last game, Fnatic left the Braum open. He got first picked. Did you actually like first picking Braum, or do you think it was purely because it is one of the 2 champions that support can basically play?
I mean, for our team, if we had to choose between Kalista or a champion, would probably choose Kalista.
Right.
So I guess every team has different priorities on different champions and so on. But I was not like, I didn't like it, right? From my perspective, how our team works and how we really like Kalista. But maybe they just don't care. They're comfortable playing against it, and they're comfortable just leaving it to the enemies. So
I'm glad we agree.
Yep, very, very happy to hear that. For you guys at home, just a reminder once again, jump onto the Score Esports app available on iOS and the Google Play Store. We're about to jump into picks and bans, and if you have the app, you can track exactly what is picked, what is banned, what scores are secured, and you can keep up to date with all the news and information as SKT are getting
Oh, he's ready, man. He's
themselves
pumped.
awake for this game. So, Mithi, we've brought you in to help us out with some picks and bans for this particular matchup. And straight out the gate, SKT are actually banning Victor towards 2MB. We know he's very famous for his teleport Victor plays. And Monty will be very happy to see the Corki banned. Even if it's not picked, he likes to see that picked or banned in Champ Select.
It just has to be in the champ select. Victor, SKT basically doing the same thing. Target ban with the first one. They banned Bard against Afromu in the last game. It's what you can do on blue side.
yeah, on the Braum ban.
Oh,
That's
okay, so
interesting.
similarly, I mean, obviously SKT will not first pick the Braum because they are like most teams in the world. And that means you know that QG can take it in first rotation if you first pick Nidalee, like we saw them do for Blank in the last game, or a Kalista first pick for Bang.
I think they're setting up for an Alistar first pick maybe.
What makes you say that?
Because they're banning the Braum, and they're the two strongest champions right now are Braum and Alistar. So first picking the Alistar is going to give Wolf a lot of playmaking potential, and he plays a very mean Alistar. At least I got to experience that at Worlds. So
What's the next step then? Now we see Nautilus banned away. How is the team communication going with the champions that are available in your mind, Fisher?
I mean, QG knows what SKT is trying to do then and say like, hey, let's leave, let's say a Kalista or a Nidalee, both of them open, and then also Alistar, and say, okay, you get the Alistar, we pick Kalista, Nidalee. And for most teams, that would be an absolute fantastic first rotation or second rotation coming in. Now it's the question, do you want the Alistar or do you want the Kalista?
I think that SKT was just setting up different first picks they could get. They could get Alistar. They could get, for example, with the Nautilus ban, maybe a Poppy, if they like that much
Sure.
the Trundle. But since Kalista was not banned, just like our team does, just first pick Kalista, and if they get Alistar, it's whatever. With Kalista is stronger. That's a lot of people's opinion. So just stick with it.
And also Alistar, obviously in lane, is often aiming on just trying to like stay even, like just heal up as much as possible. He does suffer a bit against some of the range supports, don't you feel? Like against like a Bard Kalista lane, Bard or Kalista Thresh lane?
Kalista is bad, but honestly, first of all, I am very, very salty about Alistars that are maxing heal.
Well, some of them are at least, and they're just trying to survive.
Yes, I think it's terrible. Very, very bad
Okay.
idea. More than 2 points in heal is just...
Waste.
Yes.
So what would you do in a situation where, let's say Wolf picks a Thresh here and gets the Thresh Kalista lane?
I think Alistar Lucian can lane against Thresh Kalista if you don't screw up.
Okay,
I think you're going to be pressured all the time, and Thresh is going to be able to have control of the river, and it's going to be tough. You will most likely want to lane stop it, but you can lane it. And I wouldn't put more than 1 point in heal in that lane.
All right, no heal. That's what we have to keep our eyes on. Next to Lockie is Gragas there for Blank, as well as Fiora for Duke. So pretty good frontline split push power. Decent engaged with Kalista ult as well. How do you reply to that if you're QG, Mithi?
Well, they have to first decide what Kokomo is open, right? But Kokomo is pretty bad against Gragas and Kalista. So they have to first make the decision. Do we want Kokomo? Do we not? And then what kind of comp do we want to run? If they have already the Lissandra, so they can set up for example, Lucian, and then just an aggressive comp that can kind of fight the aggression that the blue team is going, the SKT is going to pull off, or they're just going to go for a safe Ezreal pick.
This is
don't
normally
really like that.
Yeah, QG normally likes to play Ezreal, but
I think Ezreal into Kalista is
Yeah, you just talked about this whole how Alistar Lucian, if you are extremely good, can actually stay even. In the 2v2, Ezreal would not have been able to do that. Obviously, that would have been a very defensive lane.
And with Swift locking in that Graves, he's currently undefeated in the spring split in LPL, 5-0. So he's got a very comfortable champion. And going to add to that aggression that maybe you were talking about, Mithi.
Yeah, both teams just want to be aggressive right now. They have a lot of burst right now with the Graves Lissandra combo, and also the Alistar to either follow up or start the wombo combo. And now SKT has to decide. They already have a strong split push going in with Fiora. Ooh. The Nautilus is banned, so I'm not sure what the purple team is going to last pick, but SKT just needs to set up a strong foreman right now. So they just need to pick like a mid laner that is either good for 1-3-1 and leave the Kalista mid, or just have the Kalista go on side lane and put the mid laner mid, which I don't think is the best call right now in this meta. So I think the LeBlanc pick would be fine, and then just the Bard to pressure the lane bottom lane and make some plays, ult the Lissandra maybe before she ults in. Just get a strong foreman, let Fiora win the game. That's usually how it works with Fiora.
And this will most likely push Lissandra into the mid lane. A lot of mid laners like the matchup into LeBlanc, at least. And then you can try and counterpick the Fiora. But I mean, you would have to honestly almost play Quinn at this point into Fiora if you want to like try and win that 1v1 straight up.
But if you pick Quinn, you're basically, I mean, they pick Quinn for 1v1 on top lane, but that means they're gonna 2v2 against Kalista Bard.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem.
Bang, playing Kalista Bard.
No?
I mean,
it's tough, you know?
QG, because they have Uzi there, will have a lot stronger laning phase than normal. You said yourself, the Alistar Lucian, it's a tough lane, but if you are extremely good, I'm not trusting more
against Kalista, but against Bard it's just annoying because you just get pressured. Like there's not much you can do against this lane. You actually have to put points in heal. You know, like.
Whoa! Hey!
I was talking about Thresh Kalista. We were talking about Thresh Kalista. This is different. Here it's tougher, and you're forced to go Ignite if you even wanted to v2. And if you go Ignite on support, you become quite useless afterwards, especially against LeBlanc and Fiora.
I've seen some teams put Graves top lane into Fiora and just try and push her down to tower over and over in the early game if you take the 1v1. But again, we are most likely going to see the lane swap. Now you build just honestly for team fighting instead. Engage in with Lissandra, Poppy follow up with Home Guard TP, and then you try and pick basically people off like when the team fight starts.
So Deficio, who's actually going to win in your mind after seeing the team comps completed?
I mean, I'm a massive both Fiora and Kalista fanboy. I like 1-3-1 setups, also when Faker's playing LeBlanc. So I'm going to go SKT on this one.
Both teams have 1-3-1 though,
so if Deficio...
I'm just a bigger fan of Fiora into Poppy in a 1-3-1. I don't think Poppy late game can do anything in that 1v1 at all.
Yeah, it's about how QG execute the double TPs.
Basically.
So Mithy, do you think QG can win if they have successful double TPs?
Yeah, definitely. I think both teams can win just from champ select. I don't
and
both teams can
who will win? If you have to predict.
I give it to SKT. What's Faker's LeBlanc record?
He is no longer undefeated on the champ.
As to
EDG.
We know that, yeah, but
something very high to
it's
one.
good.
Yeah,
Paging Monte Cristo, I'm sure we'll get those numbers shortly. Look at this, guys. The fan vote is with SKT as well, 76%. We will be back after the game is concluded, but just before we go to the casters, we have to take a quick break.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to IEM Katowice. Of course, our winners match just around the corner. Chalku Reapers going up against SKT T1, and it is obviously my distinct pleasure to welcome you here to the caster desk. We've had some fantastic games so far, and I hope you've turned your headset volume down. If you're here in the venue, then I'm sorry, you're just going to have to deal with that. I am here, of course, with Crepo. It is the classic WTF to Mitch's desk. Good to have you here, my friend, and we have an absolute cracker of a match here to be looking over.
Yeah, have you ever asked your Mitch for other Mitches? Well, now you can.
Depends which Mitch is Mitch.
Exactly. Anyways, going into this game, the first thing we have to point out here, Faker, I believe like 12-1 right now on LeBlanc, something crazy. I know he was 12-1 going into that famous game 5 there at the MSI when he got counter-picked, baited into LeBlanc, counter-picked with the Morgana. No Morgana shenanigans coming out here, right here. So Doanby playing that Lissandra in the mid lane. Should be an interesting matchup. Definitely the pressure advantage with Faker having that Ignite though. So need to see if QG crumble early.
We are now on to the Rift, and it is Doanby on that Lissandra, who actually is not one of his most feared picks. It's normally the LeBlanc or the Victor or the Kassadin that he's feared on here. But we'll have to see what he can show us on this champion. And yes, like you said, no teleport for Faker. So let's see now what the early stages of this game have for us. We saw SKT with a very interesting start to their match against CLG. Crepo definitely didn't seem to be super confident.
Yeah, overall, ooh. I wonder if they're actually going, oh, see the pinks? Oh, they're doing it. This is the ultimate cheese. Luckily for SKT, or for QG rather, they're actually opting into the lane swap. So this cheese is absolutely fantastic. This is like the Parmesan of Bard, the level 1 portal over the wall. It only works though if the enemy wants to 2v2 you, and given these matchups, which are absolutely brutal, Lucian, Alistar into Bard Kalista just simply can't lane it, you have to lane swap. So SKT kind of relying on QG's inability to lane swap and then hoping that they would pick the lanes. Luckily, I mean, if this cheese works though, like if they actually start the Grump here, the game is almost over from level 1.
That would be absolutely devastating. Just as well to have the resident Bard expert on the caster desk for this one, but Chalku actually seemed to be heading in the direction of this blue buff area, and it is Duke now forced to back away through as the Wolves do come up here. So QG already getting in on towards SKT jungle, and of course this will be reciprocated here.
Yeah, QG do the 4-man invade that they actually did against RNG, which got super punished because in that game RNG predicted the lane swap and they were already hiding in the top lane, and then obviously QG was forced to operate under experience disadvantage in the 2v2 top. Now the level 1 actually plays in their favor due to the peculiar strategy that SKT was running, only just by a margin though. This is like a slight tempo lead, if anything.
So SKT don't lose too much for potentially going for quite a big play, I guess you could say. It's more, and of course Uzi going to be on that top side. They're fearing that burst trade potential from the Kalista and the Bard. Of course, they are trying to pressure down, and more just takes a little tower hit for his trouble, but they do now move up and pressure on to this turret.
Yeah, wave hits, top laner joins. Guess what? The jungle's going to peel off. Maybe take Skull, maybe take Chems on the other side of the map. SKT is doing a lot slower push. Let's pan over and see what they're doing. So the wave built up a lot slower, and it's actually not even that big of a wave, so maybe SKT did a slightly different approach. Anyways, that wave's gonna hit. They are behind in tempo though, quite significantly, so that's, need to watch if QG can actually make use of that. The one match, ironically, a week before they faced off against RNG, QG also had a tempo lead, and they completely botched it by blind swapping and starting to fight instead of just pushing out the next tower. I mean, look at the HPs here. This tower is on 75, while the other one on the other side of the map is about to go down.
QG definitely with that advantage. They've been able to work with it, at least for this part, and then we'll get that tower. But I guess the question is now, where to from there, and how are they going to exacerbate that advantage for them, and maybe make that manifest into a material advantage?
Yeah, in standard lanes, they just don't get it. Yeah, they need to do an extra wave right here, QG, a little miscommunication here. So what they want to do is obviously wait for this wave to die, bounce it backwards, V catches the wave, the bot lane bases. You always want to leave your top laner in with a tower behind him so he can never get caught off. So V bounces the wave right here. He's going to hold it here as long as it takes for SKT to then base themselves and run up top. That is the condition where V has to back off. That means when you kill a tower so early, you get 2 extra waves, 3 extra waves on your top laner, and you kind of win the lane swap from there.
We'll see if that's actually going to be happening, of course. Crepo's Faker in the mid lane was trading at length with Doanby a little bit earlier on, but a little bit more health for the Chalku mid laner. And
because he used teleport. So obviously the way Doanby wants to play is small trades, stay out of all-in range because Faker has an ignite, but then he's going to go low. He's going to base, teleport, and then come back to the lane. This time actually picking up a Dark Seal. Interesting approach here. Looking to snowball on Faker. It's a bold move.
Yeah, probably the boldest move against one of the top players. I'd be very, very interested to see if that is even going to come remotely close to fruition. But Moore now has already made his way in towards the SKT jungle, which is devoid of wards for the most part. And it is a recall from Duke in the bottom lane, so he will be safe from any sort of shenanigans.
Yeah, a couple deep wards here. Good pink ward. You see V, or Duke rather, respects the fact that he could get dove 1v3. And you see if V will respect the same fact. Obviously, they spot Bard coming up. They will know that not Bengi, Blank this time is missing, so guess what? He's gonna respect it, but he's slightly ahead of Duke overall right now, and that's because, again, QG took that tower slightly earlier, and in the lane swap, it's those little invisible things, the timings, tempo, that's all that matters, because you actually never fight each other.
And look, just as you said, that's how it's manifested. It's still a lead in tempo, as we put it, for QG in the bottom side, and they're pressing on towards that bottom outer turret. Yes, this is being replicated in the top side by SKT, and Duke will be joining here on the push. But so far, QG have navigated these early stages fairly well.
Surprisingly.
Yeah, but in SKT, you know, it was said they don't understand the Western lane swap, or they maybe struggle a little bit what CLG were doing. But no huge mistakes being made on either side. But like you're pointing out, as you would, it's these very little things.
Yeah, and now QG, they take the logical approach. They look over the other side of the map. What are they doing? Okay, they're slower than us. Guess what? We're pushing another wave. We're not going to bounce here. We're going to keep going. The only variation we've seen is some little ganks in the middle lane here. That's what Blank is going for. So if Dolanby doesn't die here, QG is doing exactly against SKT what CLG was doing earlier.
And he may be in a bit of trouble here. Quickly, though, he's backed away. So clever from Dolanby and just playing it safe. He doesn't have a lot of wards actually up on that part of the map where Blank came from. So he's read that well. He's going to get safe for the moment.
Yeah, and SKT, formerly such a great macro team, they were playing the map better. I mean, if you go back to Season 3, some of the pushes they did, the 3-tower into inhib trade at like 17 minutes into the game that they pulled off, like beautiful game reads, it's kind of disappointing to see them just simply not understand or not be able to execute some of these faster pushes. Because that bot lane tower got severely chunked, the mid lane gank didn't work out, so while the goal is still even, QG has set them up for slightly bigger yields in the future.
And, you know, speaking to Monty and Doa earlier on, they did say that SKT aren't actually a stellar team really in the early game. It's through the mid-game spikes and into the late game where they can really make their presence known here. So perhaps not the end of the world, or definitely not even maybe a cause for concern for SKT, but now Uzi, he's top side.
Yeah, we may have praised QG a little bit too much though, because one thing we haven't kept track of after this like phase 2 lane swap is Duke. He's now doubling the CS of V, so I'm actually going to take back what I said. Easy now, because
Don't
that top lane.
backsies, bro.
Yeah, no backsies, because that bot lane tower didn't go down. Like V is stuck jungling right now on his own, while Fiora just got 2 waves for herself. We were snowballing ahead in that already very, very critical matchup. So V seems to be slightly ahead in experience. So I need to see when they finally meet up, you know, who's going to be ahead, because that's when you can really gauge who won the lane swap. But so far, it seems relatively even overall.
In the mid lane, Faker does want to start something up. It's a glacial pass for Doinby. He's going to have to tomb himself. At least the teleport going to come into the mid lane. Not going to be acted on, of course, but still a bit of safety for Doinby as Faker already showing those trademark signs of getting a bit aggressive.
Yeah, Doinby just uses his claw out there as he sees Bard approaching. Obviously, heals up a little bit with the ulti with the changes. See SKT being pushed in the top lane right now, while they're pushing in a massive wave in the bot lane, but again, slower. Tempo on the side of QG. A little bit of level disparity or farm disparity between the top laners, though. But at this point, looks like they will actually never, ever meet in this early to mid game. They just keep being swapped around left and right.
Yeah, both teams almost a tacit agreement just to keep to their own sides of the map and push on, but this could be a little bit risky here. Chaogu pushing on towards this inhibitor turret, and Doinby going to be teleporting in
He's
as well.
TPing on a creep to keep the creep alive longer, so this is an early inhib tower taken. SKT, this is 8 minutes 30 in the game.
Oh my lord, they've taken that inhibitor turret. Incredible stuff. So early on, you said they got these early advantages with the lane swap, and now that is how it's manifested.
Yeah, that's how it's manifesting. Look at SKT. They're obviously not going to try and race here to bounce this wave. Again, this comes at a cost, though. This juicy farm that you see right here that's dying to the tower, that's what V was eyeing. It's like, hey, guys, can somebody help me take it? No, we're pushing. So he's stuck on 19 farms. So while it looks very impressive, and we're like, oh, yeah, they're taking inhib tower, it's only a 400 gold differential, and the gold is distributed in a way that actually benefits SKT overall, because Duke is looking to take an absolute dump on V whenever they meet in lane.
Double CS at the moment. Already a pickaxe in that build and boots of swiftness to boot. So he's doing fairly well, of course, and I have to see if he can exercise that in a split pushing sense. For now, he's just been trying to farm up and make sure that he will 100% be relevant later on. Posturing towards Baron, though, is QG.
Yeah. They're going to go for it.
Sorry.
Yeah, obviously not the Baron. Doinb gets caught here. Oh, beautiful chain CC, and he goes down.
Yeah, easily enough there for Faker. It's very, very quickly, of course. That's how it's going to happen with LeBlanc and Chaogu working on this dragon. But a teleport might be coming in here. SKT don't want to let this one go for free. Red team does get the dragon Chaogu, but now more might be caught by the chain. Duke comes forward. He thought about the backline, but he just turns around and cleans up the cow. Wolf going very, very deep. He wants to hit a binding, but he's too far forward. V catches him out, and now Faker going in. Duke very, very low. Somehow, the great escape. No! Uzi shuts him down. Now Uzi might have troubles of his own. It's blank and bang, bang, pressing in towards him. The red was good, and of course the javelin throw is going to finish it off. Bang, picking that one up. A very back and forth one. SKT losing Duke and Wolf there, though.
Yeah, the back end of that chase was a little bit too much magical journey. This is a beautiful opening. A portal. Doinb gets caught, surprise. Good E flash here overall from Blank, because Doinb was looking to see can I ulti out of the binding, but he didn't see the flying Gragas coming. Here again, really good opening. At this point, though, when more drops, I don't think they should chase with the binding, because obviously Uzi will trade a kill here. But overall, this is like a game-winning play for SKT overall, because if you look at where V is in this game, he's just so far down compared to Duke. I think when they meet, he will have severe issues being able to duel.
Yeah, it's going to compound that lead that Duke already has. And interesting there to see the Bard go take his own magical journey forward. He definitely wanted the stun, but he opened up the path for SKT. Now QG coming forward. Wolf just going to get completely bursted down there as Doinb comes in with the tomb, and they'll also have themselves this mid-outer turret.
Yeah, and this is QG recognizing we can't leave our Poppy in a side lane. She will get destroyed. So what do? We just group up, death ball, 4 people, 5 people, keep making plays. Initially, QG was looking to group up on get that bottom tier 2 down, then the fight broke loose because Doinb was picked off in the mid, because their play right there was a 4-1. Doinb in the mid lane, siege with 4 people bot, take that half HP bot tier 2 tower and see if you can even out the gold with global gold to maybe eventually get V strong enough to be able to deal with Duke. Right now they can't deal with Duke, so they keep diving and picking somebody off every single time on the side of SKT. So SKT needs to avoid dying in these random spots and just let Duke control the pace of the game.
Chaogu going to back away from mid here as well as Doinb threatened for a moment, but he will have a wave to push up that SKT need to deal with now. Where the rest of Chaogu going to come from? They all backed as well, so Doinb not going to have too much help here, and Faker coming forward as well. Does lock up Doinb, and it's going to be an easy one. Wolf actually picks that one away. He gets the magical journey out to safety, but V's not done. He goes in towards a Faker clone and is not able to get that kill.
Yeah, another pick off here. Doinb drops now. Action on both sides. Doinb trading his life for the defense for the tower, so hopefully things finally slow down. It's been a lot of action so far. V's looking at that top wave. He's like, juicy farm. Freeze. He actually may have to freeze this for a little while to somewhat get even. And then SKT will play the map 5v4. A limited wave clear. Yeah, we got some calling in the mid lane. Once the Soundra comes back, it's kind of okay though. QG looking to hang on while they get the Poppy back into the game.
Important for QG to have maintained that tower, although you know, he's Doinb as a result. Faker, of course, 1-0 and 2 right now.
Oh, Morse cornered.
An attempt to try and catch more there with a Tempered Fate. They'll just do it the old-fashioned way. A Cosmic Binding locking him up, and Blake going to be able to knock him back across the wall to pick it up.
Yeah, and this is QG not respecting the fact that they have a Poppy just slow pushing on the top lane, still freezing. You can't go for any semblance of an aggressive play. And yes, moving in your own jungle at this point is an aggressive play. You got to just hide under your turret while you wait for that Poppy to scale up. Already double CS on Duke. He's not letting go. He's continuously pushing in any empty lane he can find. He's just soaking up the farm, and SKT is making picks in the mid lane as well. So this is like the 3rd time they go over that exact wall for a little pick off, and it just keeps working.
QG being called close to their middle outer turret here. There was a bit of talk yesterday about Haunter on Fiora, that NA might finally have their signature champion, but I think North America Duke might like a bit of a chat about that. He's definitely gearing himself up here to just be ferocious later on. And Wolf as well can step forward now. You can see SKT, there's almost a sense that they're confident in establishing some of this deep vision, even with that middle outer turret up here, and they might threaten V.
Yeah, portal comes over. V's kind of find out. They just want to break this freeze, I think. Bang and Wolf have been had enough of getting V back into the game. This wave is the exact same spot where we saw it 2 or 3 minutes earlier. So that was V just stalling out his lane, but it came at the cost of map pressure, and SKT is probably not the team you want to give too much map pressure against.
Most Faker just throwing out the chains as a warning shots, and like you said, Cripper, if you give SKT an inch, they're going to take a mile and then some. Bang and Wolf have moved up to the top side here, so now V can't really just sit back and freeze this one up, can't give himself that farm and get himself back in the game. The 1 kill under his belt is definitely going to help, but against Duke, who just continues to ramp up, now he's in the bottom side pushing, and SKT are using this Fiora loose end very well.
Yeah, QG, they're actually a team that's very good at diving, so they know if this scenario keeps playing out, what's going to happen eventually is a 5v4 dive in the top lane with Duke teleporting in. That's why they peel away the Lucian from bot lane, very long lane, put him mid, and then V's gonna base and just, now he has to match the Fiora. We can't leave teleport versus non-TP in a lane, because otherwise there will be a members mismatch that somewhere SKT will dive, especially since they can create very new rotations kind of with the portal. Like, you can kind of go faster to the jungle, you don't have to go to conventional spots, and you can really make some picks. This wall here, where you see Wolf hiding, seems to be his favorite spot. Just go over, portal, get a Q off, get the control.
Adamant about getting some vision in that area, Wolf, so he can just throw the Magical Journey up and send his team on a collision course with QG's face. And we've also seen him use it to try and flank them in strange ways or even chase down. So Wolf, you know, and that Bard pick up, we thought, okay, Alistar had to be given over to QG, no Braum available. But Wolf so far has made very, very good on this Bard pick, and of course he's also got himself Moby boots as well, just to be speedier getting around. This might be a repeat here, Crepo.
Yeah, he can't go over blind. That's why he's not going over, because QG this time is grouped here. That's what they do best.
Tempered Fate coming down onto Blank, but he's more than happy with that. He altered himself. Doinby now going to get pressed here. He's going to be back up against the wall. He's very, very low, and V comes in. Charges onto Duke. Faker again gets Doinby.
Oh, Duke lives.
Fate on towards Warp. He's thrown in the stun. Beautiful cosmic binding from Wolf. Swift drops down. Now V going to be threatened and more in the backside. He's going to have to accept his fate, and that is a 4-0 fight. SKT in the triple for Faker himself.
Yeah, very often the LPL analysts call QG the kings of team fighting, but once a king to a god, SKT come in and they completely counter that play. Temper Fate stalls out the initial aggressive, the pick off that QG was looking for. Initial aggressive, use everything on one target, and then win the fight 5v4. They still almost managed to get Duke down, but at that point, the cosmic binding that follows up from Wolf, that was, yeah, the final nail in the coffin, and beautifully executed team fight here from SKT. And this time, there was no blind going over the wall here. They knew exactly what they were looking for. Flash, Q, Lissandra, they all get used. Guess what? Tempered Fate. Keep your eyes on Wolf here. Gets the portal out for people that want to leave the fight. Now V will knock in, I think, Duke into the wall here. He escapes with like a sliver health. This is single digit. This is like 4 or 5 HP. And then this cosmic binding right here, Uzi steps straight into it. That is a turning point for the fight. SKT, beautiful execution.
And you know, we don't often see Tempered Fate being used in a defensive way.
Nope.
Normally it's to set up fights, but beautiful use of it there by Wolf to protect Blank from being blown up.
Yeah, ironically, the only way you want to use it defensively is somebody's CC'd, so they can't actually flash out of it. You don't really want to screw over your team with a bad Tempered Fate.
Yep.
So that is one of the few usages. And it just requires you to read the fight, because you kind of got to predict what's going to happen. Because generally, if you do it any later, they're kind of dead before Tempered Fate lands. And then you're just like giving them a golden corpse. It's generally not what you want.
You can use it as a statue, it's an ornament at least later on, so it serves some kind of aesthetic purpose at least. But Swift and Uzi is going to work away on this red buff here. It's a 4-0-3 Faker. His LeBlanc record is almost unbeaten, of course, at 12 and...
Yeah, only once.
I mean, honestly, he doesn't look to be showing too much signs of slowing down here as well. Again, harassing more, always harassing. That aggressive play from Xiaogu. They might want to come forward here as well. Bait's call being used. Bang actually got put in the tomb, but managed to cleanse it off now, and Uzi just culling for disengage.
Yeah, Wolf doesn't go in with the panic re-engage. A lot of bars would use the Fate's Call there then to kind of save their AD carry, but Wolf was aware that Bang had QSS available. He had Flash, he had heal available, so Bang just takes the Callista Journey out safely, and that ends up getting no kill here. And again, aggression from QG thwarted. Their plays is very group-oriented because, as we see in the bottom lane right now, 50 CS differential, Fiora scaling ahead of that Poppy.
Again, it's just something that is going to have to be addressed by Xiaogu at some stage, or it may just overcome them. It's a snowball that could become an avalanche if they're not careful. Again, Xiaogu set up towards the river, pinging furiously towards that Baron. And SKT are in step with him. So obviously, it's still held at this stage. Gets me every time, of course. Blue Trinket in. Xiaogu, though, should have this one. No, Tempered Fate on towards more. Probably not the primary target, but still. Teleport coming in. It will be done. V is in the middle here, waiting for the rest of his team. He's got to back off as the explosive cast does not QG aside. This could be a slower fight here as Doinby is going to be caught up. He's going to drop eventually. That's Bang to pick that one up. Faker going in towards the back line. More quite low here. And V, surely not. He can't even flash away from this one. He is taken out. That's another one for Bank here. He's activating just like Faker. Wolf getting in on the action, and Uzi trying to back away. It is all about Bank. right now, and Swift just has to walk away with his tail between his legs. He might have 2 shells. He isn't going to be able to use them at the moment.
Yeah, absolute panic play by QG. 4-man rushing the Rift Herald as seemingly a lost option, and then the bar ulti comes in here. The only worrisome point is where Wolf kind of misses the predict on the Lissandra, but look at how well and how patient SKT are. Look at the space they're leaving between their opponents. They're focusing Doenby, and 4 other guys are not doing anything in this fight. QG is not doing a single thing. One by one, they start entering the fight. Faker steps in, forward, backwards, forward, backwards. The threat of Faker doing damage is more efficient in this fight than Faker actually doing damage.
Yeah,
and then the cleaning crew comes in.
He's just stood there, and Gu gives so much space. You saw Keeper's verdict as well from V, only going on towards Blank, who'd already sort of used all these bursts and he'd used these ultimates, so not such a factor. And it all going wrong at the moment for Gu by the looks. And we thought this would be a slower game, Crepo. 20 minutes just coming around, 16 kills, and SKT are stacking them up one on top of another here. The gold lead as well, starting to blow out almost 6K.
Yeah, just the early game, it forces QG's hand into very predictable movements. And while SKT have been sloppy, they're still hopefully sometimes a smart team, and when you play a super predictable style, which is like you have to fight your way out, there's no other way out of this situation where QG unfortunately put themselves in than to fight, and SKT reads into those fights beautifully, and Faker showing why he's such a good LeBlanc player. At no point does he go in, but it's the right choice sometimes not to go in on LeBlanc. We can't stress that enough.
Yep.
Zone is sometimes far more important than actually using the spell, and demonstrated by the last team fight by SKT.
And QG do show a tendency to pile on in those fights. SKT just micro back and forth, getting some poke down until they had the juicy target that they wanted to pick off, and of course they did. So now it is looking pretty grim, of course, for Gu, as Blank is going to head up top side there and just push more back as he and Uzi were hoping at least to make some ground here. Faker setting up deep.
Yeah, this is in the LPL where QG hope to surprise their opponents. If they fall behind in a similar fashion, they just fight, they literally fight their way out. They are dubbed the Kings of Teamfighting because they're so damn good at it. They have more on Alistar this time where you can usually peel, but it's so hard to reach any of these SKT members, and SKT a very much so slower approach to this game. Duke split pushing, he's controlling the pace. Once that wave hits, guess who shows up? V, he has to reveal himself, then Duke can peel off, maybe join the fight, or go for the 1v1. Calm and collected here, backed up by Vision. This is the kind of the SKT that we were hoping to see more in the LCK.
And this is Duke 100 CS ahead of his lane opponent in V. And he's been involved in 8 kills for SKT, the majority of them. He's able to be, multifaceted in his approach here. He can split push that lane, but you better believe when the fight starts, he is there and he hits the ground running, of course, getting involved. 7 assists for him. Definitely a strong showing, but SKT, unlikely that they'll take their foot off the gas in a big way for too long. They are backing up now as well, securing their own territory, but Faker and Wolf always chomping at the bit here in the mid.
Yeah, they're just going to use the objectives to force pressure and then force QG to enter in a bad fight. They're not going to straight up fight them because there's no reason. They're just going to keep taking dragons, eventually the Baron pressure, split push, force QG to make a predictable play and then counteract it with the Bard. Bard is so strong when people run at you because it's so hard. When you juke, you can juke a Cosmic Binding, but you never can predict what the guy behind you is going to do.
Yeah.
That's why you see so many times people like, they screw each other over. Like, yeah, I told you to go left, I went right, and then they both go left, and you both get stunned by that Cosmic Binding overall. So that is really hard to play against the Bard because you have to rely on your teammates to not proc the stun on you.
Definitely a test of trust and faith in one another here. SKT seem to have that in spades though, and they're pushing in towards this middle inner turret, and the amount of damage they've done in one small push, the wave still standing as they moved away. They're looking really, really frightening now coming forward, of course. And QG, again, can you just find your way out of this? I mean, QG look like they've put themselves in a position now where even the Kingdom team fighting are going to struggle when it goes head-to-head with SKT.
And yeah, we could have seen a play there where you see Doenby flash to ultimate on Wolf there, but because of the Kalista, Wolf can play so far forward without getting caught, because even if he CC'd, he can get face called out. So Wolf was technically overextending there beyond limit, because one flash R from Doenby into QW, and he's just straight up dead. But he knows that he can rely on Bang to just get in range, face call him out. So it's so hard for QG to play into this at this point.
Again, Wolf and Blank and often Faker always pressuring around this particular part of the map. They'd love control of, obviously, that pit and the red side as they want to pressure in. And you could see earlier on, Faker just taking the cow for a walk there, always harassing on towards more. Wolf He's spotted out in that bush, and he won't be able to recall there so easily. But again, I mean, let's just do our regular check-in on how much V is getting wrecked in farm by Duke, and it's still a distinct lead for that Fiora. 210 here. And Chaoku, they value control over this part of the map here, trying to clear some wards away. And they're thinking about Baron. They're thinking about Hail Mary at this stage.
Yeah, getting Flame Horizon at 100 CS, that's on Poppy into Fiora. That's a grim thing. That's never something you want to see happening. And that is something that may happen later if QG do go down here when they play against CLG. They get the Temper Fate though. Looking to Q the bind here.
Doinb should just drop pretty easily there. In fact, a fair bit was actually used to secure that kill, but now you can see why it's so important. Fate's call coming through. Wolf is going to get the knock-up on Swifty. Wasn't stunned towards the wall, but they got the turret. Yes, ultimates were used by SKT, but they're still going to be able to press forward and take that advantage.
Wolf is just showing why many consider him one of the best, if not the best support in the world. Over at Worlds, just playing fantastic so far. Really showing Bard mastery here. Something obviously I enjoy very much.
No doubt about it, Crepo. Uzi there, culling away, just trying to keep these waves from pressing in towards QG. And it's not just the waves that are pressing in, it's SKT. And of course, the inexorable darkness to follow, of course. 25 minutes in here. We would call this early compared to a lot of the games we've seen so far this weekend. But SKT, look at this lead now. It's still extending, about 7K for them here. And it doesn't look like it's going to slow down anytime soon.
Yeah, it's just, now it's a matter of now if SKT take the Baron, more so when. Faker defending that ward, that brush there at least, he's on a ward. He now knows that he's on a ward, so nobody's going to blindly juke away. He likely knows that he's spotting. Just buying some time here. SKT pushing out the sideways first, then they want the vision, then they can make the objective play. Duke has the pressure. He's a little blind though. If you look at the Fog of War, he only has that one lonesome ward at blue buff that's defending him, so he's relying on his team to kind of get vision on the other members. Otherwise, he will have to back off very soon.
The only thing that's better than having a split pusher that demands attention is having 4 other players that need to be constantly monitored by the opposition. Now let's address the elephant in the room here, of course. Duke, we talked about a couple times, he needs to be dealt with. How can he be dealt with? V surely can't deal with him on his own. What did QG lose to try and shut down Duke or prevent him at least from pushing in like that?
I think if they go collapse on him, the Baron is gone. Because they need at least 2 or 3 members to kill him in any seemingly considerably decent amount of time. So they need to surprise. V needs to get a surprise teleport flank out somewhere. Knock maybe bang into a wall. Obviously Steadfast Presence can counter LeBlanc, can counter Killista in fights, can counter Gragas body slam in fights. So that is your scripted way back into the game. But it's so hard to realize that because SKT is simply not letting it happen. They're not playing super aggressive. They could close this game out a lot quicker. SKT could be hitting the Nexus almost at this point if they took the maximum amount of risk on every play, but they're fine playing it slow and steady, leaving no room for counterplay on the side of QG.
Well, I guess they either respect QG or they respect the unknown. Well, it's kind of the same thing, I guess, in this case for them as SKT. Well, it was said before in the interview they had to be prepared for this. Doinb is going to have to Frozen Tomb himself, and now Blank forced him away. Teleport's going to come in here, but will it be cancelled? No. Duke's in there with Faker. They're going to go towards Swift here. He goes low, but Duke may himself be caught. He's going to try and make another great escape.
Oh, he's dead.
Again, Uzi will catch him. Faker, though, he's not going to let this slide, but Uzi doesn't care. It's a Zonya being used by Faker, and he drops down. A perfect record now being smeared across the river.
Yeah, SKT, they go for a really hard engagement, but the CC layering isn't just quite as crisp as necessary, and Doinb just, that Ice Tomb buys him so much time, and then Uzi staying alive with the Hexdrinker pop there. Faker not able to get him down. The chains missed as well, uncharacteristic from Faker, and now QG are setting up for Baron.
Wolf and Bang just towards the outside here as well. They need to hold this one up. Tempered Fate comes in. Only 2 QG players caught in that one here. The rest are free to fight, and that's why Blank and Wolf have to sit right on Bang. Oh my lord! SKT steal the Baron. Incredible stuff. And Uzi drops down. Now Bang might be caught though. He needs to try and kite Bang. Bang is doing all the work. It's a triple kill. He's going to make it another surely. But no, he chooses not to go over instead. Wolf will do it for him. Now chasing on towards V, a little bit of shield for the man, and of course, a magical journey in through from Wolf, and Bang finally gets him onto the scene. It's an ace for SKT, and the Baron steal, definitely a nail in the coffin for the Chaoku.
Yeah, delayed quadra kill there from Bang. What a fantastic turn then from SKT. Wolf literally shooting fish in a barrel, and then that Tempered Fate just bought the right amount of time. They got zoned from the Lissandra E overall, so SKT took a collective step backwards, but the Tempered Fate completely reset a lot of damage on that Baron. And it was so close. I think that was like a 200 HP smite there that we saw come out from Blank, and for his first step back into the SKT lineup. Honestly interesting, but this engage is really interesting. So Ice Tomb's been used already. Faker doesn't find the pick. Uzi playing, honestly, incredibly smart here. Doesn't go down, gets a little bit of a juke on Faker. Look how he dashes towards the clone location too, because he knows Faker's gonna go back. And then we go for the Baron play. You can see there's a little bit of turbo here. The Cosmic Binding will go on V in the pit, so he will be stunned. They won't be able to peel. And then here, sidestep by Uzi, and then this ulti. This is so crucial. Let's see. Doenby uses all his spells to zone and on Baron. So Doenby has nothing left in this fight. Moore is going to go down here before he can get Bang into that. That's the big thing. Bang used QSS on the knockup. So a knockup is 2 parts. If you QSS, you can't move, but you can actually flash out of knockups a little bit earlier because it's a mini knockup into a kind of a stun. And you can use QSS into flash or blink abilities, and that's what saved Bang in that fight because he was so close to being knocked in into the pit there. So that is the crucial play of that fight. The QSS flash from Bang completely wins that fight and maybe even the game here for SKT.
Yeah, another tempered fate coming down. I think SKT want to be done with this one now. Blake is going to be able to knock back QG and Duke already finds V. Now Swift trying to dash away there. Doenby in the middle. He's going to tomb himself, but he will finally be caught and chased up. More trying to back away. Uzi as well. Double kill coming out here for Duke, and QG just have to back away and give this one over. More stunned up against the wall, and this is going to open things up for SKT. They pushed in and taken that bottom inhibitor. It's unlikely they'll finish the game here.
Yeah, they may actually go for it though. They have a lot of safety in numbers here. They took a dragon while that replay was happening. They took a tower while we were watching. They took the inhib and they're looking to take 2 towers more on top of those 2 kills. SKT are looking to close out the game here.
No Doenby left and no V. SKT do have a chance, but cleverly enough and kind of in keeping with the way they've played this game out, they get that 1 Nexus turret and they back away to fight another day. But you've got to say, that is a massive lead that they have put forward now. 13k or thereabouts. Is my math isn't exactly up on top, but 21-6 in kills as well. Dominant performance there.
Yeah, anything above 10k, just crucial goal lead here. SKT have to avoid making that same mistake though. You can't leave any window for Doenby to press R on himself, because then Uzi is suddenly enabled because all these spells are on cooldown. Doenby will re-enter the fight. SKT look a little more aggressive here. Spooky Ghost coming in, Tempered Fate. Moore's cut out.
Yeah, he should be caught here. Wolf tries to bind him up, and actually Moore wants to come forward and be teleported in. Bang, he's exhausted. He's forced to back away. Collateral damage won't quite get him. The shield came in at just the right time, and Blank does want to disengage, but Swift doesn't want to stop chasing here. Looking for the slow was Blank, but at least Swift will back away. His Faker was elsewhere.
Yeah, QG understand that sometimes the best defense is offense there, and Moore completely turns around that fight. Bang was so close to dying because that locket came in after the ulti connected. So if that was just a little bit more damage on Swift, I think Bang would have dropped dead before the locket would have even activated. So that could have been a big loss here for SKT, just buying more time for QG. Honestly, impressive how they really know when to turn the switch back on, you know, on the re-engage very often in these fights.
You can see that the Wolf has been very, very diligent at trying to keep Bang alive, as is Blank, of course. And like you said, that locket, super clutch. And Bang, you've seen what he does when his teammates are behind him, the 1v4 or the 1v3. Obviously, towards that Baron pit was exquisite, I'll say. And now, SKT, again, you can see they're looking for picks here with Tempered Fate. They're just looking to try and nail QG down and take them out here. And of course, Duke, surprise, surprise, is pushing that side lane.
Yeah, 1-3-1 here. Don't let QG group up. Don't let them fight you together. Don't let them layer the CC. Individually, you're always stronger. QG finds strengths in the sum of their parts. We'll see if somebody's a lot stronger than you, you need to chain CC him. Don't let him damage you, because you will lose the damage war, but you maybe burst him down.
Later the game does go if QG can hold on here. The way that CC is layered could be the difference between victory or defeat, but right now SKT show no signs of really going to be giving that one over. You can see those minions are constantly pouring in towards the bottom side, and that allows SKT to pressure. It's going to draw the culling out from Uzi, trying to give his team some breathing room here.
Yeah, every time somebody catches a wave here, obviously the Poppy Steadfast Present doesn't work on the return to your distortion, only on the additional distortion, because it's the dash that turns into a blink. But every time one of those waves crashes in the side, in the top lane, and somebody from QG steps aside to peel it away, that's when SKT wants to step forward, take down that middle tower.
See Duke just being a thorn in the side here. He's escorting those super minions in towards the base, and V can't really deal with them effectively at all. Duke's more than happy to fight him, and remember, that Nexus turret is down. You couldn't see that yourself, so Duke can always harass in that vicinity as well.
Yeah, but SKT failing to really make that push work, because the top lane needs to be pushed in as well. They really need to spread QG a little more thin. Obviously, SKT don't need to close right now. 3 dragons on the board. Baron spawning soon. They have Kalista to make any Baron 50-50 into like, what, an 80-20, 90-10. especially if Blind keeps smiting the way he has already. Pretty much a guaranteed Baron, unless there's a fight. SKT taking it slow.
They're not sleeping on QG at all. They know, I mean, QG's reputation precedes them as being prodigious team fighters. And SKT doesn't really want to throw caution to the wind and maybe lose it there. We saw what happened yesterday, of course, with a failed Baron bait for Team Solo mid.
Yeah, and Wolf fully investing in Operation Bang Bang here, giving the crit item Zeke's Harbinger. Ironically, that's the only time you can really build it right now is on champions that it's kind of bad on. Back in the day, you wouldn't really build Zeke's for Kalista or for champions that didn't get too much value from crit or didn't build too much crit. But nowadays, it's the only time you can because all these conventional carries like Lucian, Caitlyn, etc., they're already building 70, 80% crit, rendering the item kind of useless. But yeah, Bang will be, in addition to having Runons, what can now crit, you know, being relatively tanky with the Maw, will now be able to crit in these fights for even more lifesteals effects overall. So he'll be so hard to lock down.
Flash forward there as well, and Doinb is going to be caught yet again. Nothing he can really do about that one. No chance to even ultimate himself. Faker as well. Here we happy to pick that kill up, and now the fight continues. Uzi caught right in the middle. Not where you want to be on that Lucian. He tries to micro his way out, but it's not going to be enough. And now Bang just jockeys back on more. He can't even get the pulverize, and Swift looking to get out of this one. But Duke is going to be there right in his footsteps. Look how big he is. That is what the split push threat is able to do here. And SKT, it's a double for Duke, and they surely will finish this game here. From start to finish, they've looked completely confident and solid, and they're gonna get it done the right way here, pushing up, of course. All of SKT will be happy with that one, and they have made their way into our finals out of this group. Congratulations to SKT, a solid finish to this match. And straight through to the finals for these guys. This is the way the tournament structures work, in 2 wins and the best of 1, and you are through. And now QG have to start thinking about how they're going to make their renewed push, of course, for their own finals berth.
Yeah, QG 1 best of 3 separated from potential 2nd seed here. SKT taking the expected 1st seed, 2 best of 1 wins, 2nd one more convincingly than the 1st. And this just gives you, for me, even more interest in seeing QG play, because how crisp their team fights have been. Certain cases, they have still made some mistakes that maybe CLG can later exploit.
Yeah.
CLG versus Fnatic will be an interesting match too, so we still have some very interesting games ahead of ourselves.
Absolutely, some incredible plays in that game, especially from Faker 6-1 and 10, and Bang 11-0-10. And guys, if you enjoyed the plays here and you want to make some of your own, of course, you can use the Plays.tv app in the Google Chrome store, and you can cut and snip your own highlights and upload them. Share them with us as well.
I had Plays TV for my stream. Still not making any plays though.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's it. We do want to see some Tempered Fate usage here, maybe even in a defensive context on your teammates, for better or for worse.
Yeah, I need Fails.tv for my one.
Either way, ladies and gentlemen, it's been great to have you at the desk. We're going to pass it over now to our experts to break this one down as SKT1 move forward into tomorrow's play.
Thank you very much, Uber. I am joined by the expert Mithy and some other guy as we're going to break down
Damn,
this,
the camera's not even on me.
this performance. SKT come out swinging and truly just dismantle the Xiaogu Reapers. Before we get to a couple of replays, Mithy, talk to me a little about the lane swap and how good or bad it was for QG to actually knock down all those top lane towers, technically exposing the inhibitor, but it just felt far too early in the game.
I think the main issue of the lane swap came before that. At first, QG did good. They had the pace of the lane swap. They fast pushed on second wave. They were faster on the whole push situation. But since they were faster, they decided to snowball their advantage after taking the second tower, when I think they should have just bounced the waves for Poppy and then go top and then push for tier 2 on top lane and be faster on the push. So I think that's what put Poppy behind, and we could see that
throughout the entire game.
SKT's top laner was really, really good. He snowballed the advantage he got from the lane swap, and he was like 100 CS up at some point.
Yeah, he was super fired, and we actually went back and just followed just V on Poppy. The way he was moving, he stayed top after the first tower went down to get some experience. Just no CS, just experience. Recalls when they take the bot tower, he actually has to be there, preferably, but in this case he got experience, so it's fine. He values that over the gold. But then at least he gets the wave when they kill the tier 1 tower and bounce it back to him. Because they pushed for tier 2, he went into the jungle, did 1 camp, realized he couldn't get anything on the bot lane because they pushed into tier 2, went back and did Grump, did Raptors. Then his team was pushing top lane, and he wasn't there either because he's not supposed to be. And like he had no lane to farm. I think we looked like for 5 minutes, he didn't get a single lane CS.
It's tough.
Yeah, 20 CS at like 6 minutes.
It's
Then you're done. I
really
mean, then
tough.
you're out.
Yeah.
So after the lane swap shenanigans play out and V's put pretty far behind, we've got a replay of the first blood that leads into really one of quite a few dramatic fights. Start this clip off, roll it out, and you can see DNB just gets caught out by Wolf on Bard, who had a phenomenal performance.
Yeah, so just to make this even worse for DNB, he just TP'd bot lane when he took that inhib tower, and he wasn't even needed. He just TP'd in for absolutely nothing.
Top lane, top lane.
Sorry, top lane, yeah, for the inhib tower. So he uses TP, he returns to lane, dies. His team is now starting Dragon at the same time, and the mid lane just basically got destroyed in mid. And it's just easy for SKT to chase on and pick up a lot of easy kills. And everything is just lost, because when you use TP for basically nothing, return to lane and die,
Not only that,
you're
but
just so slow.
on top of him TPing top for no reason, Faker had a freeze mid on him, which made him lose, from the TP, it made him lose 2.5 waves to Faker, which is not the best case scenario for you
So
when
we
you
now have
Faker's
Poppy
playing
and
with that.
Lissandra being behind.
Hold the thought with Poppy and Lissandra being behind, because we have to head on stage with Shox is going to talk to Blank.
Congratulations, Blank. Fantastic game. You guys are through to the semifinals. Tell me about that game specifically. In Korea's LCK, we see a lot of more slow-paced games, not as much aggressiveness, and this one was very aggressive, very fast-paced. What was it like to play that kind of game for your team?
LCK에서도 락스나 좀 잘하는 팀 보면 평균적으로 시간이 빨리 끝나는 경우가 많은데 경기가 차라리 느린 것보다는 여기서 빨리빨리 하면 더 성적이 낼 수 있을 것 같고 빨리 하는 게 요즘 대세인 것 같아요. 네, 더 좋은 것 같아요.
Okay, he says, even in Champions, if you look at the way that Rock's Tigers play, they finish the game very fast. And he thinks more than a slow game, winning faster is actually, he likes that better. And 더 좋은 것 같다. Yeah, and he feels that it's a lot better to play games faster.
Okay. You guys did play very fast here. You had some fantastic games today. How come you seem to be really performing well here in these games as opposed to how has it been going in the LCK so far? You even got that fantastic Baron steal.
제가 사실에 한국에 LCK를 뛰었을 때는 조금 긴장도 많이 하고 전 시즌 아무래도 롤드컵 우승했다 보니까 좀 부담이 많이 됐는데 조금 저희 성적이 안 좋고 그래서 여기 와서 그냥 부담감 없이 잘하게 된 것 같아요. 그리고 최근에 좀 심리 치료를 그 회사 쪽에서 지원해 주셔서 잘 될 것 같아요.
Sorry, that was a long answer.
Take your time.
첫 번째 얘기요.
제가 부담을 많이 갖고.
Right, he said, okay, actually, while he's playing in Champions, he feels a lot of pressure to do well, especially because he's on a team that won World Champions, and he just kind of feels very nervous when he's playing. But because his team hasn't been doing very well, coming here, he felt, I'm going to let that pressure go and just kind of play. And so a lot of that nervousness has gone away. Also, from SKT side, they have given him someone to help him work through these kinds of issues, and he feels that has helped very much.
That is very interesting. Good that the nerves are then a little gone because you're going to play in front of thousands and thousands of people tomorrow versus TSM in the semifinal. First off, how do you think that's going to be like to play in front of that huge crowd and having to perform well?
조금 떨리기도 하고 설레기도 한데 TSM도 워낙 잘하는 팀이라고 생각하기 때문에 충분히 연습 잘해서 꼭 이기도록 하겠습니다.
Of course, I'm definitely nervous, but at the same time, excited nervous too. And he feels that TSM is also a team that does very, very well. And so if they practice well and they prepare, that they will be able to, pull it together and do well.
And get out of the win. We will see what happens. Thank you very much, and congratulations, Blank and SKT, for making it to the semifinal. Back to you guys.
Thank you so much. SKT will advance to that best-of-3 semi-final tomorrow in the Spartak Arena. We do have a few more replays to talk about because when we left the expert desk, Deficio was talking about the fact that Poppy and Lissandra were behind. Here's a replay of a great catch by SKT punishing the lack of vision from QG. Take it away, Deficio.
Yeah, so look at the two pink wards in the river, in the bush where Blank is standing, and then the bush right next to Faker. This basically makes it impossible for QG to see how many members are around when they do engage. And we can just roll the clip, because we're going to notice a very aggressive engage from Alistar. Notice, this is QG's vision, by the way. They see absolutely nothing in the river. This is what SKT can see. They're just waiting, waiting, waiting. Gragas will move through the river. Again, remember, QG can't see anything. And they just instant engages. They have no clue who's waiting around. Use everything on
And
Blank.
such a great ult by Bard.
Bard saves the day in the start, and then Faker comes in from the bush. Everything is used by Lissandra. She's now basically useless, getting popped. And it's just a cleanup for SKT, completely outplaying QG. But, I mean, when you have zero vision, you can't just rush in, especially also not on a Gragas. It's too risky.
They were also really, really lucky that Kalista was doing red buff, because they somehow knew that Kalista was a red buff. If Kalista was also hiding with the team, they would have been even more destroyed.
Mithy, talk to me a little bit about Wolf's performance in that game. He had 100% kill participation, 3-2-23. His team got 26 kills. He's been involved in every single one of them. How good was his Bard in this particular match?
I think he was really, really good. I think he did everything he had to do. He took Portals and Suicide for his team, and he also did very sick ults like that last one. And I don't know, I think he played very good from my point of view. I don't know if I would have been able to do anything more, or probably would have done less. So I was very impressed by his play, and
it worked out.
Definitely 100% kill participation.
It's impressive. It is impressive. 26 kills. There's another replay we want to take a look at. It is the final sort of fight where there was a glimmer of hope for QG, and that was very quickly stomped out by Bang. Roll the clip out, and you'll see QG managing to get a couple of kills together. And Mithy, you were actually saying after they secure these kills, going Baron was really the only call they had available to them.
They were really, really far behind at this point. I'm not sure what the score is right now. It's probably like at least 10 kills up for SKT, even more, I think. So them getting these 2 kills is really, really good by QG. But I think if they don't get Nash out of this, they're just gonna lose the game slowly anyway. So I think the Baron call was fine. It just happened to be that they lost Baron and still died, you know. But
what do you think about this play, though? More staying in the pit with the rest of the team, and they're staying behind the Baron because they're a little bit afraid of the Kalista instead of the Alistar going onto zone.
I can understand the Alistar being scared because he has no ultimate, so he's scared of going into zone and so on. But I would have definitely just gone in, headbutted the Gragas and just suicided for my team. But he was maybe a bit too afraid, or maybe there was like different communication going on in the game. You can never tell. So I just think that the whole call overall was fine. I think if they would have not taken that call, they would have lost anyway. So
yeah. It was one last-ditch effort, right? Yeah. It either makes or breaks it. At that point, you're going to lose anyway. So SKT go undefeated to the group stages. They advance to the semi-finals. We will be going to an ad break very shortly, and we'll find out exactly who is going to join SKT in the playoffs on Sunday. For now, we'll be right back.